AC because the way it is in my apartment is that the AC is right next to my computer.
No, your voice is good, man.
All right, that's good.
All right, here we are. For our first stream, this new year. This is a brand new, exciting year.
Sorry about that.
Yes, Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Greetings.
The captain doesn't have a dramatic New Year's wish.
I'm kind of over this year already.
Yeah, same here. My grandma died. I just exploded at work because stress. Not having a wonderful time either. No. Oh well. Which is why we're just gonna talk about fun stuff instead, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yes, like Sonic X.
It's about time we finally get back, or you guys get back to it.
Yes, absolutely. It's been a while. I kind of gave up making skits for every episode. It's just causing me more stress. But yeah, we might still do like a special one, like the baseball episode when the episode is really funny. Like make a very special cartoon for it, but not for every episode anymore. Even though especially the Knuckles episode this time was very great. So
Yeah, it was a good episode.
But then that's for later, I suppose. So, Luke, how's the new year been for you so far?
A bit dark, a bit cold. I'm a stone heavier, but I just want to take it easy for at the moment. You know, just to ease into it a bit before I work on anything voice acting or anything else wise.
And I already gave you a voice acting job. Poor you.
Yes, I'm going to be Vector again in something Sol Sustancia related.
Yeah, well, Vector still. It's an update from my old level pack I'm working on, yeah. Just kind of wasting a little bit of time before we start, because we always start a little too quick. Melting Man, you have any things going on this new year?
Let's see. Most I've done was just do a quick little meme video that was just me experimenting with the green screen options with Adobe Premiere. Then I posted an update video, which is basically just an extended version of my section of the updates that we did for the Christmas stream. But right now, I've just been doing a lot of drawing. I recently did a version like the Station of Awakening, those fancy stained glass windows in Kingdom Hearts. I felt like doing one for myself, so I made it all Forgotten Media themed with myself and featuring lots of characters from various episodes that I've already talked about.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I've seen that. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. All right, thanks.
Yeah, and Captain, you're having a bad year. I guess you don't want to talk about it.
Not really. I'm just cold.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, weather sucks. Can't wait for summer either. Hence why I'm working on a Sol Sustancia pack again. Sunny islands, tropical stuff. Give me that any day over the stupid winter. We don't even have fun winter like snow and all that. It's just miserable. It's just gray.
Yeah,
empty.
pretty much had a wet winter over here.
Yeah.
It's kind of well, right now over here the winter is just freezing, even though there's no snow. But yeah, it's just been cold.
Ah, yes, winter. All right, I guess we'll start now with episode 15. Anyone want to do a synopsis for it?
Yeah, I'll take care of this one.
All right.
Okay, so the episode starts off with Chris giving Sonic a cell phone, and he just immediately ditches it because just because like we got to be dramatic later in the episode when they need Sonic.
Of course.
So Tails, Amy, Cream, Cheese, and Chris are all gonna go shopping. At least that's the plan. And they just get swarmed by people because now they're all famous.
Oh, they were swarmed before, but yeah.
Well, yeah. Then Eggman decides. Eggman like comes out from under his base with a new egg carrier-esque battleship, and decides he's just gonna level Station Square and build his new headquarters there in retaliation for the president attacking him. And so yeah, he just releases a whole bunch of wrecking ball robots. And then yeah, Sonic shows up destroys all of them really quickly, but he can't quite get to the battle station. So they now got to go get the X Tornado. And luckily, Sam Speed shows up to give him a ride. Mr. Stewart shows up out of nowhere, which is weird. And then they get the X Tornado. Sonic gets 3 separate power rings and just completely destroys the battleship.
Am I the only one who was laughing at the ending? This episode is such a wonderful ending shot, but it's suddenly out of nowhere, super dramatic, and like, oh, Eggman, he might be defeated, but he might return, even though he's already constantly returning. And we zoom in, and everyone's staring dramatically, and then all of a sudden, the military soldiers who didn't do anything the whole episode suddenly get a close up, and then all of a sudden, there's this weird Looney Tunes zoom out on the guy.
It's like, oh, where is he?
Yeah, man, he's gonna say something funny here or something like, "Oh, that's all, folks." Like, but it's still played seriously. And I'm just laughing. Like, what? It's such a weird edited sequence. Like, it's dramatic out of nowhere, and then suddenly it's this comical shot out of nowhere. It's like, what are you even attempting to do? But I found it hilarious. But yeah, this episode. What can I say about it? I think this episode is a great example of one of the issues I have with Sonic X is that it has a very big problem. Like combining its like episodic. How do I explain this? Like it's like there's 2 things going on in this episode, and they don't really gel together. Even though it's separately, they're kind of fine. I like the idea of Sonic and friends having to deal with being famous and having all these annoying humans bother them, and of course, plot with Eggman trying to destroy the city is always great with everyone fighting. But there's 2 storylines never really mesh up together. It's just like 2 separate episodes with no start or end, and I think that's one of the issues I used to have with Sonic X as a kid, where it just feels like the humans are just wasting time. Even though now as an adult I love the human storylines because they're really funny, because they're just kind of because the humans are always super stupid in this. But yeah, as a kid you just want to go to the action, and especially since they don't really mesh together, it doesn't really. Like the 2 storylines don't really click together. It's really bothersome how the human stories just never really like fit with the whole. But that's just my thoughts. Anyone else have a thought like that? I talked everyone out of existence.
No, I'm just trying. I'm thinking about it as well, but like how incompetent the humans are.
Well, that too, but I mean, that's a storyline that they're at the shopping mall doesn't really connect with the later half.
Oh yeah, we're just like gawking at them, like I mean, I would probably gawk at them too if there's like these walking furry animal characters walking around.
That's true. It's very realistic, yeah.
Or I'm looking at like, hey, isn't that one of them furry characters I've heard about? Those fursuiters.
Yep, alien beings, exciting. I also found the second half very funny in how formulaic it is. Like every single human ally they have to show up and do one useful thing and then immediately be useless again.
I had to laugh at the ending bit because it's like, oh, suddenly Sam Speed turns up, then suddenly Mr. Stewart turns up, and then Mr. Tanaka turns up. It kind of reminds me of like how you do someone does a story or fan fiction or something, and they go like, oh, suddenly this character turns up, and this character turns up, or like, oh, the Avengers turn up, the X-Men turn up, the Ninja Turtles turns up, Batman turns up, the X-Men Optimus Prime turns up.
It is funny. I was almost expecting a joke. Like, suddenly Helen turns up and they have to ride her wheelchair to get somewhere.
And Knuckles turns up.
Because it is so unnatural, you kind of expect a punchline to it because it doesn't really flow
it's
naturally.
almost like the Battle of New York in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a way.
Yeah, I suppose. Even though at least those heroes in Marvels remain useful. Here they just do one useful thing. I mean, Mr. Stewart is suddenly like badass. He can fight off those robots, but only in his big introduction sequence. After that, he's immediately useless again.
It's like, oh no, I'm too crowded. I can't use my mirror. Then his other character goes, oh, I'm here to save him, help you out.
Yeah.
It's like if Spider-Man or like any of the Marvel cartoons suddenly like, I don't know, Wolverine turns up or Iron Man turns up, that sort of thing. Or like in that song, Ultimate Showdown or something at the end, where it goes like, and Gandalf the Grey, and Gandalf the White, and Monty Python and the Holy Grail's back night, Bill Les Preston, and Theodore Logan, Spock the Rock, Doc Ock, and Hulk Hogan.
Absolutely, yeah. Captain, you had any thoughts on this episode?
Not really, actually.
One other detail I found very funny is how in the 4Kids version they really want to avoid talking about that people might get hurt. So every single time there's like damage or something, it's always referred to from the perspective of just property damage. So much even so that when you suddenly see the president's aide being blown up, all like cartoon-like, instead of like, oh, call me an ambulance, instead it just calls, oh, someone repair this room I'm in. Even though that
I would have gone, you're an ambulance.
Exactly, but we can't let the kiddies know that they might get hurt or something. So if he's blown up and is completely wounded, well, Looney Tunes style, like no, he's only concerned about it. The room is broken. That's the only thing on his mind.
Yeah, and also the thing about this episode is that in a way they have introduced the egg carrier, but it's not the egg carrier. It's definitely not the egg carrier because this one is painted purple and has a drill thing at the end.
Yep. Oh well, it makes sense. Eggman has a beta version first, but it is
In a way.
Sorry, yeah.
I'm just saying it kind of reminds me. It's like a smaller version of the final fortress in Sonic Heroes, which is like it's roughly the size of a Super Star Destroyer.
Oh right, yeah, absolutely.
Because they've got the similar like purple colours in that.
It is kind of interesting, but yeah, I love the idea that they're all like beta version. I mean, I don't know if that's the idea, but it would be like a fun explanation why. But yeah, I'm kind of fascinated how many Sonic Adventure elements already get slowly introduced here.
Yeah, and also there are parts where like you see it going over the city. It kind of reminds you of the beginning of the intro to Sonic Adventure, where you see the egg carrier going over the city, and you see like shots of Amy reacting to it.
Oh right, yeah, that's a good point.
Or like in that Sonic movie fan movie, where like you got the egg carrier over the city or something.
Well, it's a very iconic shot, so.
Yeah. Because in a way, the egg carrier is pretty much what Darth Vader's Super Star Destroyer is. Because it's a bit similar to like of a Star Destroyer.
True. Well, the creators of Sonic were very inspired by Sonic. I mean, Star Wars. Sorry, I mean Death Egg is obviously the Death Star.
Yeah, exactly.
Back
and also, there's like there was also a bit where like they were wondering like how did Eggman find the time to make the thing? Because like it was like, did he built it when it was hiding underground, or was it like always there?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, really cool all the drills on the egg carrier. That's like a cool effect too. I mean, it's relevant for this episode. I had to drill through the ground, but I like the look.
Oh, another thing I should point out is at the very beginning where Chris showed Sonic a phone, that had no relevance at all to the rest of the episode because you thought that he's going to end up using it or he's going to try and use it to contact Chris, but he doesn't. It's just a throwaway thing.
Yeah, it's just to explain away a plot hole, I guess. Like, oh, why don't I just give him a phone? Like, oh, because Sonic is a dick and he's.
And also, cell phones or flip phones were a thing back in the day.
Yeah, that's great to see the 2000s technology on display.
Yeah, because we remember we all got our first like flip phones and that.
I love flip phones. It's a shame they're gone. I mean, I guess they're not useful with the big screens we have now. But I still actually kept my old flip phone, even though I don't use it anymore. I just like flipping it every now and then. I'm pathetic like that.
Yeah, because like you had a couple of flip phones back in the 2000s, but they didn't last very long because the screen would end up being damaged, and I didn't think to take it to someone to get it fixed. I didn't know about those places, so I just had one of those like normal looking cell phones things before they're like the big iPhone things came about.
Yeah, now they're just mini computers basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that's kind of the theme of the two episodes, where we kind of start with them kind of explaining like a plot hole, just doing a little bit of world building, and then the rest of the episode has nothing to do with it. I kind of like it. But yeah, it does make the episode feel a little messy. It's, I guess, just a bit of a slice of life kind of thing. It's like, here they're just kind of discussing about phones. I kind of like it, but yeah, it does make the episode feel a little messy. I mean, at least in the English version, it has a comeback where Amy later complains about his son not having his cell phone with him. Although I don't recall the Japanese version doing that. So I guess the 4Kids was agreeing with you. Like, it's kind of weird that it's never brought up again, so I guess we just make a reference to it.
Yeah, because I only watched the Japanese versions to research while looking at them.
Fair enough. I tried to watch both for just in case, even though I didn't really spot any big surprises or changes. Yeah, fun episode. It's kind of nice. I'm setting up Sonic Avenger in advance.
In a way, yes.
And I kind of like the shopping mall stuff. So it's pretty good. It's just it's a lot of loose elements that don't really click together. And of course, it's kind of ridiculous how rich and spoiled Chris is.
Yes.
Having his own limousine and everything. Oh well.
Yeah, that limousine thing, that's a kind of like, it hovers, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Then again, he has a great inventor as a grandpa, so I guess it makes sense. He has.
Yeah, and when I saw Mr. Tanaka come in with the giant truck, I thought that's like what the X Tornado is. Like, it transforms into the tornado, like a transformer.
That would have been cool, and alas, nope.
I did notice that the driver's seat was on the wrong side of the limousine.
Oh, did you? I didn't notice that. Could be. I mean,
Japanese... Maybe it was from another country or something.
Yeah, because
I guess
because like in Japan, it's on that side. I know it is in England as well. By the way, hi, I'm Sal Commander. I'm the voice of Captain Theory. My voice changer isn't working, so I'm going to sound like this for the rest of the stream.
Fair enough.
That's a shame. You sound a little low. Can you put on the volume a little bit more?
Oh, sure. Yeah, hold on.
Just before it was yelled at for being too loud, and now it's the other way around.
How's that?
Yeah,
So
I think it's a lot much better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, shame you have to drop character, but oh well.
Yeah, so there's definitely a lot of moments in the show where it shows the inside of a car and the driver's seat is on the left. But for the limo, it's on the right. And I don't know if that's like just like the animator's fault or 4Kids just forgot to flip the footage or something. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Oh well. I have to be honest.
Speaking of things 4Kids forgot, the scene where they go to the VIP restaurant, they're approached by a couple of women immediately. One of them has a cross on her necklace, which is usually something 4Kids freaking hates showing.
What kind of a necklace? Can you repeat that? Sorry.
A cross?
A crucifix necklace.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. Okay. It's so kind of annoying that they take those things out, especially when it's just little background details.
Well, I never noticed it either because they're like all these women are everywhere anyway.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think about it. I thought, oh, it's just random jewelry. I did kind of notice that the dialogue of the rich ladies was completely different. I mean, in the Japanese version, they were trying to do more of a satire where they kind of explain, like, oh, rich people are always bored or something. They were like making a weird statement, which I mean, I don't know enough about Japanese culture to know what rich ladies are like there, but that in the 4Kids version, that was completely gone. Now they just kind of talk like normal chatty ladies. Oh, that's so cute and normal. Well, in the Japanese version, they were trying to do some satire. That was kind of weird.
Oh, well. A thought I had while watching this episode is like Mr. Stewart shows up, and now that like it's public knowledge that the Thorndikes live with Sonic and his friends, Stewart's mission should be over, right?
Yeah, pretty much. And we haven't had any update on what's going on. I guess he's just a personal bodyguard now.
I guess.
Oh, maybe a later episode will explain it. I doubt it. But, yeah.
Certainly how he acts this episode, he just shows up with a hand mirror and completely decimates a whole bunch of Eggman's robots with their own lasers.
I think this is the only time we ever see him actually, at least up until now, show any like combat skills. Because before this, he was just like the wacky slapstick guy who was completely out of his depth. So it's kind of weird. Maybe in between episodes, he got training all of a sudden. Oh well. Yeah, I hope we go back into Stewart and what's going on with him, what his mission is right now. Because the show does do a lot of world building, surprisingly, and I kind of appreciate that, especially how excruciatingly little world building we have in Sonic right now. It's kind of refreshing to see. But yeah, there's so many little details that don't really make sense. Yeah, that will just make the episodes more clustered if they have all these little details to explain, even though it has nothing to do with the story. So I can understand. We'll just wait until Stewart gets a more prominent episode again or something. I don't know. So, we move on to episode 16.
I guess.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Melting Man, you found this episode interesting, or was it episode 17?
It's the next one we're doing, the underwater episode.
Okay, that's shut up. You're disqualified talking. episode.
It's because I'm deep voiced, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm deeper than you.
Oh yeah. I was about to say big bone, but that wouldn't work.
That's my job as a resident fat ass.
Yeah, I'm skinny as hell.
Lucky you. Yeah, anyone do a synopsis, or am I gonna do it?
I guess I could do it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so so after Robotnik's recent defeat, they're currently in hiding, pretty much under the water, as the search squad are like trying to find where he's at. And once they go away, it's like, all right, let's get back to work. So Sonic and his friends are decide to have a bit of a vacation time from all the fighting. So after getting like some passports and everything, they head on over to chill out, but then they find out, oh, there's a Chaos Emerald nearby, and it's underwater, which, of course, we all know Sonic doesn't like being underwater. So they manage to eventually find a way to get down there and find it, but then, of course, Robotnik shows up like, oh, I will defeat you again, Sonic. But then, of course, he sends out this robot jellyfish this time to fight him off. And then, of course, Sonic kills him off with the usual power ring gimmick, and yep, that's pretty much it.
Pretty much. And all of a sudden, there's this super random storyline in between about the sunken ship. Almost like they suddenly had to waste extra time. Because they make a big deal about it. Like, oh, there used to be a ship here. Oh, it's an old legend. And then they found a treasure. And by the end, the ship got blown up. Like it's so random. It's like they suddenly need to waste 2 minutes extra time. It's like it didn't go anywhere. It's just like, oh yeah, there was a ship, and now it got blown up, and nobody cares. The end.
One thing I have to nitpick about this episode is that Chris is rich enough to purchase the scuba diving equipment, but the guy in the shop says, oh, it's okay, all of Sonic's exploits and all the things we're going to give to Sonic is all government funded now, meaning that your hard-working tax dollars are going towards Sonic's exploits.
Like the kid isn't rich enough. Well, now you get stuff for free on top of
So when
that.
you get your pay stub, it says, oh, what's this? Oh, that's going towards the Sonic tax.
Lucky the Chris is already spoiled as hell. Otherwise, you just start make abusing it. He already has everything, so I guess he can't be abusing it too much.
Yeah, fight the cause. Join the Sonic Rebellion.
Don't let Amy hear it before she starts.
And pay your Sonic tax.
In rings.
Would this be a statement about Yuzuka saying that money doesn't exist in Sonic's world? Is that this the explanation? Oh, money does exist, just the government pays for everything Sonic does. So for Sonic, money doesn't exist?
They're not paying for healthcare, they're paying for whatever Sonic is doing.
Very important, yes.
Yeah. That's like another weird thing that happens, like when they get all their passports and whatnot, I think this is like a English dub thing only, like Tails is like, oh wow, I never had to deal with this, like, oh, might be different in your world, blah blah blah, which is kind of funny. I don't think it's ever addressed in the Japanese version. It's just, oh, these are passports and security cards, this is what you do to manage through this world, and blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I did notice that too. It's kind of like the cultural differences. The Japanese have so much respect for authority, they're just gonna go along on default. It's like, oh yeah, of course, we have to have passports and tax on the English.
I do have this idea, like when Tails is reading his passport, he's like, why is my name Diego Hernandez? And Chuck says, oh, that's my fake ID in case I need to flee to Mexico.
Of course, like in the English dub, how like, oh, I never had these kind of like licensing to fly and whatnot. It does make you wonder. It's like, okay, so in Sonic's world, apparently Tails just doesn't have a license to actually fly a plane legally.
Unless he's British. Well, you got a license to fly that.
Exactly. Then again, we don't know if there's any government or anything in Sonic's world or police. Then again, we never
Ah,
really
yeah.
see anything about Sonic's own world, so who knows?
And oh yeah, then the other scene that happens, it's kind of interesting. This is a scene that only happens in the Japanese version, where when they get their passports, Cheese is like wearing one around his neck, and Cream's like, "Oh, why is Cheese wearing a card?" And Chuck's like, "Oh, well, that just shows that that's just to let people know that you legally own Cheese as a pet." And Cream is very offended by this, like, "No, Cheese isn't a pet. He's my best friend."
Oh yeah, that's true. I guess that's because in America they don't really have that law. Like you need you need factual proof that it's a pet or something. Maybe it's just a Japanese thing.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there are like documents and papers to sign for like owning a pet and collar tags and whatnot. But I don't know. I guess I don't know. Probably for stupid reasons, like, oh, 4 kids saw that, like, oh, that's slavery. That's bad. Let's remove that, or some stupid shit.
Who knows? I mean, it is kind of ballsy of the universe of the government there to just pick one of the random aliens. Like, you know what? You're an alien. You're a pet because we think you're stupid. Like, it's not like they have like any in-depth information or like studied them or anything. Oh, then again, they did study Cream and Cheese, did they, in episode 2? Maybe.
Yeah.
Briefly, yeah.
It's still a bit of a dick move. It's like, you're not worth it. Even though he shows a lot of intelligence more than normal pets, but oh well.
One thing I have noticed in the episode is that there's this crab who looks remarkably like a crab meat, but it's never insinuated if it actually is a crab meat robot or not.
Yeah, it's just evil.
Yeah, just a dick crab that just so happens to be like a regular Mobian version of a crab meat. What if crab meat was never roboticized? Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe he also got teleported in with Eggman's Chaos Boom from episode 1. I mean, we know
Chaos
Big
Control,
the Cat also got sent away, so maybe Big was fishing for a crab meat. But yeah, that's a good point. This is one of the extremely rare times they actually make like more obscure reference to the video games because they
there's a reference to like Eggman's regular robots instead of all these like giant Gundam robot machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the first time we see a reference to classic Sonic related material. Yeah.
Yeah, now you mention it, it is kind of weird. Oh well. Or maybe just.
I also want to.
Sorry, yeah.
Sorry, just I also want to mention how weird it is that like there is this legendary shipwreck that like is so hard to find that many people don't even believe it exists, and then you just got this group of inexperienced children who stumble across it.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like you'd think that would be like the plot to a Scooby-Doo episode. Yeah, I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids.
Well, you would at least expect the ship to be very hidden in a cliff or under a cave. I mean, to be fair, they were.
Tintin found the unicorn more easily.
That's true. But to be fair, they were following a radar through the Gale's Emerald, so I guess they had a little bit of an advantage others don't have. But yeah, it is just kind of randomly laying there, so. Yeah, well, I'll forgive him for it.
Yeah, and then of course there's all the stupid ways that Chris tries to help Sonic out with going underwater to breathe. Like the first time it's like a hose, and of course I find it amusing in the Japanese version where there's a bit of a fourth wall break with the Sonic that are next to them. So like Chris's sign is like, "Good kids don't try this at home," and Sonic's sign is just, "Does this mean I'm not a good kid?"
Well, you're not a kid, you're 15, so shut up. Well, then again.
Yeah. So yeah, they tried the hose. Yeah, so they tried the hose and that doesn't work because the crab meat decides to be an asshole about it. And then the bell, they tried this weird bell thing, and I think it's more funnier in the Japanese version where Chris is like, "Oh, here, try this bell, no problem." And Sonic's just like, "Where did you even find that?" So he tries the bell, and it doesn't work, and it's kind of interesting how in the Japanese version, when the bell fails, like Sonic is like really freaked out being trapped underneath it, unlike in the English dub where he's more annoying. And so after that fails, it's Chris like, "Okay, let's go get scuba gear." Like, "Oh, now you decide to go for the freaking scuba gear?"
Really when are we going to get that? I thought they're going to make Sonic wear one of those old-fashioned diving suits.
Well, you're really in a Tintin mood now, aren't you?
Yeah. It is pretty much the Sonic equivalent of Red Rackham's Treasure.
Pretty much, yeah. I guess so.
Yeah. That was one weird detail I noticed. Like, "Oh, let's get scuba gear." I was kind of thinking, okay, like oxygen tanks and scuba suits and whatnot, but no, all they get are just flippers and those like portable oxygen masks where I don't know what those called. I know they show.
I
up
bet
in
they're like
Ant-Man.
rebreathers or something.
Maybe something like that. Yeah.
Science fiction breathers that can create oxygen
Yeah,
out of
science
nowhere.
fiction readers.
I just always found it fascinating when they like change the dialogue or change stuff from the Japanese version, but they don't change the visuals because it also looks weird. I mean, especially in this show, but they still have some of those signs they hold up where the jokes were, the four wall jokes were, and they're still there, just with the text removed. So now it's just a random sign for no reason. Or face
Yeah.
expressions don't really match what they say because Chris clearly has like a cartoonish, I'm saying a stupid joke now face in his face expression, even though in the English version he doesn't really say anything funny.
Yeah, because like the weird thing about Sonic X with the Japanese version is that a majority of the text is all written in perfect English. Like with Amy's security card, that's all written in English in the Japanese version, which of course was blotched out in the English dub. But for the signs, yeah, that's like one of the rare moments where it actually is written in Japanese, and then they just removed it and didn't bother writing anything else. And weirdly enough, when I watched the Japanese versions on Hulu, the Japanese text is also missing. So like the signs are blank, and the fancy intros, like oh, it's just a fancy intro. You don't see the text pop up. So yeah, it's weird when watching it on Hulu.
Yeah, I guess so.
I also have this another funny idea. Like at the beginning, when the government had difficulties finding Eggman, they looked all over the world for him, going like, "Oh, we can't find him. We can't find him." They end up finding the wrong terrorist leader. So like they're like, "We found him, sir." But the presidents go, "You idiot! That's Osama bin Laden. That's the wrong person."
Jeez. That would be terrible if Osama bin Laden exists in this universe and has like a rivalry going on with
they couldn't find Eggman, but they had to find him.
Robotnik having a
Or
slap
Saddam
fight
Hussein.
with, Stalin or something.
Yeah. Then, oh yeah, I think one difference I noticed with at least the way it's written, like when Sonic and his friends like first arrive at the beach, it's like, all right, let's go and find the emerald, and there's the people like, oh my god, that's Sonic. Oh, we love you, Sonic. We want your autograph. So. Weird thing about it in the English dub, it's like, okay, let's try and keep a low profile. Like, oh yeah, let's keep a low profile by not keeping a low profile and sticking out so much. While the Japanese dub, it's just more like, oh, let's go head for the ocean, and then they get chased by the mob of people.
Yeah, that is kind of typical. 4Kids is so desperately trying to like cover up plot holes, but then sometimes they cause new plot holes by throwing that.
Yeah.
You can't change the visuals.
And I guess that explains why all the recent Sonic games have a lot of plot holes.
I guess so. All done by the same people from 4Kids. Like, don't look at the visuals, just change the dialogue. Even though it doesn't match up with the visuals. Oh well.
Yeah.
It ain't easy localizing and translating.
No. And then of course we also have the return of swimsuit Amy, as well as Cream in her bathing suit, which is just adorable.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you didn't mention it earlier, but in the previous episode, you got like Amy going through like a montage of wearing different outfits, didn't we?
Yeah, that's true. Like a detective suit and everything. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I kind of like seeing them in clothes. Although I kind of wonder where she finds those clothes because he probably doesn't have the same properties as a adult female. So she probably can only wear like children's clothes.
Yeah, I imagine she just goes shopping in the children's area.
Or Ella and Mr. Tanaka bought them for them.
Probably. And of
Yeah,
course I
maybe.
drew Knuckles in a Shamu outfit. It looks kind of cool too.
Yeah.
And why I will bring up later.
Yeah.
There's a weird side plot going on in this episode where Eggman is just really jealous of Sonic for taking a vacation.
Yeah, that's so random.
And the only thing stopping him from taking a vacation himself is his own obsession. There is like nothing else stopping him from just saying, I'm going to take a break.
I mean, he is taking a break. We see him. And then he interrupts it himself. He's his own boss.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny.
Also, yeah, Bug-kun is a dumbass in this episode because, like, he's supposed to deliver a self-destructing message to Sonic, but he can't find Sonic, so he brings the message back to Eggman and plays it for him.
Yeah, Bo-kun is just like, my only goal in life is to be a suicide bomber.
Speaking of Osama bin Laden, jeez.
Jeez.
Yeah. Quite. Oi. Yeah. But yeah, there's Robotnik chilling out with his one-piece suit.
Which is kind of funny because like it is definitely very old fashioned looking, and in the 4Kids dub, Bokun compares it to a prison outfit
Oh
because
yeah,
it's
that's a
got
good point.
stripes.
I just
Yeah.
know so much about prison, but oh well. Yeah, he even assumes that Eggman got it from a prison, so that was kind of confusing to me. Like, I mean, Eggman is a fugitive, so, but not caught yet, as far as I know.
Yeah. I imagine that's probably like his actual prison attire, and he just painted it red just to undo the burns. And like, there, I'm not a prisoner, I'm just on vacation. Ho ho.
Pretty much. But yeah, it is kind of funny. So, that was this episode then. I think.
Yeah.
Was there anything else?
I don't know, I guess the only thing I can complain about is just the way that the feet are designed. It's like, yeah, it's just more personal preference, but I don't know. I just seeing Mobians with a blob feet design, I always found that to be very lazy. It's like an artist was like busy using a base for designing a new character, and then they just completely forgot to model the feet.
Yeah, apparently Sonic characters have no toes.
I mean, we've
Yeah.
known this in
Random,
Sonic Adventure because that's when Big and DeKal first showed up.
Yeah, that's true. I guess back then I kind of regarded that as like, oh, low polygraphics, not that much attention to detail. But then that just kind of became the staple. It's like, I don't know. Just
And
it
then
seems
they
like the only
changed it
time
in
I'm.
Sonic. And they changed it in Sonic Forces, and now it's even worse because now they've got one toe.
I think that the one toe is only for like when they're wearing sandals. But yeah, like not actual. Oh no, wait, yeah, the II costume. Now I remember.
Well, that the II costume, anything with sandals, or just anything where you can see their feet. Like it doesn't matter if they've got a strap there or not. Like if you give them DeKal's shoes, they still have the one toe. It's weird.
I don't know. Maybe they're just wearing socks. Who knows?
Well, at least
I don't like
in the
it.
movie they have 5 toes, so I guess I'll just
Yeah.
have to watch
I don't know.
those.
For me, I always preferred the 3-toed paw design. It just kind of felt more natural. Like 5 or 4 toes, it just looks weird, and blob feet is just lazy. The only time I'm fine with blob feet are for like insect or aquatic Mobians. It's like, oh, okay, they're just animals that don't actually have feet or toes. But yeah,
Good point. I agree. Although as a terrible artist, I kind of like they don't have toes because I'm stuck at drawing toes, so that's good for me. But yeah, for all your feet fetishes out there, I'm sorry. It's a horrible tragedy. Yeah. I kind of have to mention I kind of like this water skiing sequence from this episode too. It looked pretty awesome. And dodging
yeah, that
explosions
was
while
fun.
water skiing. That was
Oh
pretty
yeah,
good.
because apparently in this episode, Sam Speed and Mr. Tanaka also turned up again because they're like, "Oh, it's our job to protect you guys."
Oh, you are the guys who fought Eggman and then exploded his airship by your own. Well, we two humans who have no experience like that definitely need to babysit you all the time. Yeah,
I mean, like, are they connected to them like on the hip or something?
I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, Tanaka at least makes sense. He's Chris Butler, but doesn't like Sam Speed have more important things? Isn't he the head of a police department or something?
Yeah, I mean, I guess they also saw the news report and I think, oh, we better go along as well to help out.
Then again, Sam did say he was bored, so guess his police department never really does anything. He just sits in the office reading the newspaper.
Yeah. In fact, one funny thing with Tanaka in this episode is like, Chuck tells her like, oh, make sure you keep an eye on Chris, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'll be as skillful as a ninja. And then when he gets to Chris, he's like, hi, Chris. Like, yeah, so much for being a stealthy ninja there.
Yep. Oh wow, that's Tanaka for you.
Yeah, I guess that would explain why it's never like that kind of thing is never mentioned in the Japanese version. He's like, oh, make sure Chris isn't in danger. It's like, oh, don't worry, leave it to me. Like, okay, that makes sense. The whole ninja thing just kind of is stupid.
Yep, but I love it when the Sonic humans are stupid. That's great. I also love how quickly they discard the whole ship. I mean, they find this historical important ship, and then Eggman kind of damages it a little bit, but you don't really see anything dramatic happen to it, and like they immediately give up on it. It's lost forever, whatever.
Yeah, that is weird. Like, especially with the whole robot fight, it takes place like above the water, like I don't know, like many feet like away from the ship. So how the hell would that be like buried under like what happened.
Yeah, I don't think we ever see the ship really like fall off a chasm or something. But oh well.
No, it doesn't sink or anything. The only
Just
thing I
more-
like about it is just in the Japanese version, you hear like this ominous like choir going on, like oh, when they first discovered the ship. Unlike in the English dub, where it's just kind of generic music.
That's shocking. Usually it's the American version where the music is so over the top it just becomes laughable. Especially in the next episode, it was a little too much. Oh well. But yeah, so that was In the Depths, the 16th episode. Anyone has anything left to say about it?
Nah, I can't think of anything.
I'm all
The
right.
only thing I can think of is like right before the water skiing segment where like Sonic gets knocked out of the water, he just immediately throws away his rebreather as if he has somewhere to land.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's just kind of dumb.
Yeah, I think he's just like, I'm tired of being underwater. Screw this, I want air.
I'm being hurt so much. The animators are angry at me. Let me remove this thing so drawing me is easier on the animators. With all the fourth wall joking and making jokes, they wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's kind of like that one fourth wall joke you did in the Kingdom Hearts 2 one.
Oh, right, yeah, with a voice actor joke.
Well, I was more talking about the clothes one. Like, what? The animator already drew you with your new clothes on. Darn it! Curse you, stupid animator! That's it.
Terrible fourth wall jokes. I'm just as guilty. Oh well. So we move on to the next episode. One of my favorite.
Yeah, the main event of this stream.
Yes, the best episode.
Oh yes, finally an episode focusing on Knuckles, and he's pretty awesome too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can I give a brief synopsis of it?
Yes, Luke,
Go ahead.
take the stage.
Yes, because this is a Knuckles. Surprisingly, this is a Knuckles-centered episode, like a pilot of his own spin-off series, where he goes into Chinatown to look for the for an emerald, and he's apparently knows this guy called Hawk, who is not Orc, but kind of looks a bit like Alfred Molina, hiding, which he rescued in a temple. So he goes to the shady part of Chinatown, and he meets these thugs, like this criminal organization, and he meets this mob boss, and who knows where Hawk is. So he ends up in this cell with Hawk, and they have to bust their way out of it. So they managed to do so, and they found where Hawk hid the emerald underneath a railway, in a discarded railway, but they were accosted by a hologram of Eggman and this very sexy-looking ninja robot who might have been inspired by. I'm guessing Eggman was inspired by the artwork of Hajime Soriyama, because he seemed to be into making very sexy robot ladies at the moment with this this robot ninja. The station collapsed, so Knuckles managed to find these digging mitts that were the treasure in the temple for some reason. So yeah, it's very convenient that they happen to be in there, which will help him dig through the rubble to get the emerald out. But the sexy robot ninja was there, so they managed to take it out. Who was also at the same time trying to take out Rouge, and in the end, Knuckles gets the emerald, but then he gets a vision from Tikal, who you're not supposed to know it's Tikal yet, and then the episode ends.
Yeah, pretty much. There you go. Pretty awesome. Very Shamu. Really reminded me of Shamu too a lot, with the whole Hong Kong setting and him on the ship and everything, and of course the thugs
Yeah.
and the.
In a way, it also kind of reminds me of something like out of Indiana Jones or Uncharted, where you go with treasure hunting and dealing with criminal gangs and trying to helping out and that sort of thing.
That's a
Ninjas.
good point. Yeah, I mean it's kind of fun idea that Knuckles would be saving like the Molina character from Raiders of the Lost Ark. I think where he died at the beginning of the first temple, but how in this version Knuckles saves him. That'd be a weird
Yes.
thought.
And also, like in that Sonic CD parody you did, where that guy say, "Quick, give me your brain."
Oh right, yeah, exactly. That's the guy. So now he shows up and he's Knuckles' friend somehow. It is kind of funny coincidence, yeah. I also love the fact that he's in this Indiana Jones death trap, and Knuckles just punches through the wall like it's nothing. It would kind of make fun to have like a Knuckles in an Indiana Jones story. He just punches through all the traps with no problem.
I find it kind of funny that like Hawk is incredibly lucky Knuckles just happened to be in the area, Because that is a pretty gruesome way to go out for a kids show.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, man, what are the odds? Like, exactly the moment you're in a death trap, Knuckles happens to be walking in. That's an insane luck.
And also Knuckles dealing with criminal gangs. That's really cool, isn't it?
That is awesome. Yep, absolutely. It's a shame they didn't play much of a role after that. They escaped jail and then they never show up again. I guess Knuckles really scared the bejesus out of him. It was kind of funny, him outwitting the gangster bosses yelling in the earphone. It's really awesome how smart he is in this episode. It's so refreshing.
Yeah.
Usually he's always the dumbass. But no, he's super clever in this one, so it's really awesome. He's really a spy. And a treasure hunter. That's always the weird thing about Knuckles, that he's supposed to be a treasure hunter. I mean, I don't think the 4-Kids version ever brings that up, and in the Japanese version he does mention he's explicitly a treasure hunter. And I guess it's the closest we ever get to see him actually hunting for treasure in that temple scene at the beginning.
Yeah, it's almost like Knuckles is a competent three-dimensional character or something.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Back when Knuckles actually was a character and not being a dumbass.
Yeah.
We should send this episode to Sega. Let the fucking writers watch it for a moment. Sorry, not for a moment, like 20 times on a loop. Like, here, idiots.
Yeah, 24/7.
Remember when Sonic had good stories? Here you go. Learn from it.
Also, like, boobs aside, E91 is actually a pretty cool robot.
I wasn't sure if she was actually a robot or not because she's got skin-toned arms and I wasn't sure if she's got like a robotic Iron Man mask or she's actually a genuine robot.
Yeah, the
she's a
4-Kids
robot.
version explicitly mentioned that. I guess they were just as worried as you are.
Or like she's also or cyborg or something.
Well, she's defeated by Hawk throwing water on her.
So I have to assume she short-circuited there. Yeah,
But-
absolutely.
That is another interesting detail. Like when it comes to Robotnik's E-series robots, where they usually tend to be just mute in the English dub and actually have dialogue in the Japanese version. I think this is the only rare case where this robot actually has English dialogue. So that is really interesting.
Another
a lot
thought,
less than her Japanese dialogue, though.
another thought I had is being as her helmet resembles Boken, I thought it was actually Boken in some sort of alt mode or something.
Gender bending Bokun.
I do not like the idea of Bokun having boobs.
Yeah.
Well, if you look deeper on the internet, you probably would find something like that.
Of course. And I'm not going to do that.
But or like maybe instead of it's actually his mom.
Oh.
That might be possible.
Yeah, that Boku's mom is one hot milf.
But I'm pretty sure she's supposed to be a reference to something because in the Japanese version there's like a running gag where she constantly says "Ag Ninja Technique," so I'm sure that's a reference to something.
Yeah,
Before it's
she's
the version
just a
removed
whole
it.
bunch of ninja tropes, like using a kite to glide around. And she's got ninja weapons like a Manriki Kusari, which, by the way, Eggman somehow invented a Manriki Kusari that can alter its mass. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I know Eggman's supposed to be a genius, but that feels like something that should be a bigger deal.
No, there's a lot of things in Sonic that feels like they should be a bigger deal. But yeah, absolutely. It has abilities that are beyond comparison. I'm kind of surprised that 4-Kids version actually kept the scene where she kind of puts the Gale's emeralds in her boob sack. In her delicate. That was kind of shocking. I so expected them to take that shot away. They didn't. Oh, well, it's a robot, so...
Honestly, there's like a surprising amount of boob for a 4-Kids episode here.
Absolutely.
Like between Rouge and E91, there's a surprising lack of censorship in that department.
Yeah, I guess they were not paying attention. Although there was one episode where Knuckles goes into a... What's the word? A whorehouse? I was trying to find a nicer word.
Actually, I think that was this episode, wasn't it?
I tried to
No,
look for it, but I
it was
didn't
a
see
different
it.
one.
I know. I do know it wasn't a Japanese, Asian style town, but I didn't see it in this episode.
Yeah,
I was kind of waiting for it.
it was some episode where Knuckles was like chasing Deco and Boko.
All right.
So
yeah, it wasn't this episode. So it
might have been a different episode.
I was kind of surprised to see the two robots, Bokun and sitting in the cafe at the start.
Yeah, their shady outfits because it kind of makes them look a bit more sinister.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. It's kind of rare they get utilized so well.
An idea, something I noticed about their disguises is like, this is definitely not intentional, but like their hats are definitely too small to actually fit their heads. So I thought it'd be funny if that was just like they removed their normal heads and put on these hat heads for this disguise. Like let me grab my bowler attachment.
I'm trying to look for a screenshot. I forgot to make one. It kind of reminds me of the Turtles as well. They always had these trench coats and hats. I guess that's the way that anthropomorphic characters hide themselves. Even though it still looks shady as heck, but oh well.
Might even be more suspicious.
Pretty much, yeah.
One thing I want to point out is the scene where Knuckles goes to meet Hawk.
Melting Man, I can barely hear you.
You're way too far away there.
Sorry, I moved my mic again. Right, I just wanted to point out how the scene where Knuckles goes into the bar and meets Hawk and the thugs and whatnot. It's definitely one of those noticeable censorships, because like in the Japanese version, it's a bar for like beer and beverages, while in the English dub, it's a snack bar for like bread and chips or whatever.
At least it's a kind of fun pun, I suppose. Kind of reminds me of Yukai Watch. They also did something like that. You go to a bar and then they just sell snacks.
I don't know. It just kind of stands out so weirdly. It's like, oh, here's like brightly colored, snacks that aren't alcohol, and in this dank and dusty building. It's like that's the only clean part of the building that they bother cleaning up.
And of course, everyone there is this old, like grizzled man.
The typical people who would drink soda, nice lemonade. Yep.
Yeah. Or beer, just I could just imagine in the Japanese version it's just us lamenting about the old days. Yeah, back in my day 3D Sonic games actually were 3D games.
One funny bit I do like in this episode is that this one guy approached Knuckles and goes, "Hey, you Sonic?" And Knuckles says, "What part of me looks like Sonic?"
Yeah, that is a good point. It's like humans only care about Sonic and have absolutely no notice of all the other characters.
I don't know like if this happens in the Japanese version, but like after like Knuckles corrects him, the guy says, "Sorry, we don't get many hedgehogs around here," and that's the end of that conversation.
Yeah, how did it go in the Japanese? At least that sentence doesn't happen there, but I'm not sure. I think he just says sorry and that's about it. I have to recheck again. But yeah, it does constantly frustrate me Sonic X that Sonic gets all the fame and nobody cares about all the others, even though everyone is equally as powerful, awesome, and alien-looking as Sonic. So why he gets a special treatment, who knows?
But Roger, Sonic stood on the tip of the plane during the assault on Eggman's ship.
And Knuckles on a bomb! More impressive.
Roger, you should know better. Sonic is Jesus Chuck Norris Hedgehog.
Yeah, true that. True that.
And of course, we can't go the entire time without mentioning that there is an obvious JoJo's reference in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Oh.
When Knuckles is falling down the chute into the jail cell, he punches the wall like Dio to keep himself from falling.
Yep. What isn't a JoJo's reference these days?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just in case you weren't aware, breathing is in fact a JoJo's reference.
I know. That's why the South Park episode about Simpsons did it first is completely wrong. JoJo referenced it. JoJo did it first. Simpsons is a JoJo reference.
Yeah, JoJo did it. JoJo did it.
Another thing I want to point out is that at the very end of the episode where Knuckles got that vision, I can imagine that bit from your Sonic Adventure parody where you got Tikal going, "I'm Tikal, I'm going to show you something. I'm showing you something."
Exactly, yeah.
And Knuckles going, "Whoa, there's a lot of green there."
It's funny how pointless it was. Then again, I guess at least here it emotionally makes sense. Like, oh, it's the Master Emerald calling for him. To beckon him further on this adventure. But in Sonic Adventures constantly random, yeah. Like they're busy with their own adventures and all of a sudden, "Oh, I am Tigal. Here's something unrelated. I'm being chased by a robot, lady. Leave me alone." things on my mind.
I think that was actually a very interesting way to end this episode because, like, they're obviously like teasing the Sonic Adventure arc of the anime,
Yeah.
which is like this is like MCU before MCU was a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
the
shocked
whole-
how much Sonic Adventure gets built up.
Yeah, that is surprising because the actual Sonic Adventure stuff doesn't happen until much later.
Yeah, episode 30, so we're only halfway toward the Sonic Adventure episodes, I think.
Yeah, getting close to season 2. Yeah.
Which means we've seen, I think, all of the footage from the 4Kids intro except for Shadow. Because Shadow doesn't even
Yeah.
show up till season 2. But
That's
they
kinda-
had to get him in the intro because marketing.
Yeah. I mean, then again, the Japanese intro to Sonic X features like a shit ton of scenes that don't actually happen in the anime.
Well, it was from the prologue beta, the pilot
Yeah,
they made.
The pilot, yeah. One thing I want to point out is the Hawk guy. Like, am I the only one who think that he looks like a more fatter Mo Howard? You know, from the Three Stooges. I guess he really let himself go after getting separated
It's
from
a haircut. I also recall a screenshot from I think much later in the series where, like, I think it's the same guy. Like, he grabs Sonic's Tails' two tails for some reason.
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure if that was that guy, but yeah.
Huh. I guess he must have mistook them for heads. Like, there, these are my new Three Stooges.
Sure, why not?
Another thing I want to point out, I probably mentioned this earlier, that Eggman has built this very sexy-looking robot ninja woman, and I'm thinking, like, okay, is there something you want to tell us, Eggman? Like, do you have some kind of basement where you have, like, secret sex robots or something? I get it, you're a very lonely man, but, like, no, well...
Well, he turns the whole world into theme parks and all that, so you might do a little adult entertainment on top of that. Sure, why not?
Like, are you going to make other sexy robot women to go after the heroes?
I can just imagine, like, oh, Eggman Land has a new addition, Pleasure Island, full of sexy robots and pole dancing.
Yes,
God.
enjoy my sexy robot prostitutes.
Makes you wonder why he bothers with Orbot and Cubot as his minions. Why he doesn't have a lot of sexy robot ladies as his minions instead.
I need to build more robot hookers.
We're gonna have blackjack and robot hookers. In fact, forget the blackjack.
Oh, he does have blackjack. It's just part of the level to bother Sonic with.
Speaking of sexy, so Rouge is barely in this episode for some reason.
Yeah, she's really just a
She
cameo
like
appearance.
she like shows up early, gets karate chopped by E91, who looks very different in her disguise.
Oh yeah.
And then like Rouge wakes up, sees like there's a fight going on, just bails. And then like she shows up later for the hostage exchange to steal the emerald, gets it for like a second, loses it, and leaves again.
Yeah, it's really random. Although it is nice to see her outside of gun for once. Just
I'm guessing it's because, like, how in Sonic Adventure 2, she's kind of has some sort of connection with Knuckles.
Yeah, that's probably the reason. They probably again setting up Sonic Adventure by already showcasing.
And also, like Knuckles, she's also a treasure hunter.
That's true. Yep.
Nah, I think the real reason is just they needed more fan service. Like, well, we have robot boob ninja lady, so all right, let's have bat boob ninja,
Possibly.
bat boob lady in there.
Also,
Twice
I
the
think
amount of
in-
fan service.
I think in both the Japanese and the American version, Rouge has the same voice actors as the robot, so maybe that's the reason.
Why do you
Oh,
think Sonic Adventure 2 sold so well?
Rouge is bad, of course. Yeah.
Damn jiggle physics. Which
Yeah, those great.
to this
yeah.
day, I'm still surprised they did that.
Oh,
Look,
yeah,
Sonic
jiggle
fans always say how important physics are, so there you go.
Yeah, those jiggle physics. Yeah, Rouge and her great, big, bouncing
Tracks
ears.
of land.
Yeah,
Like, seriously,
ears,
like, aside from
obviously.
the boobs, the ears, like, jiggle around so much. Like, what, are those made of rubber? Oh, maybe
Made
that's
of
not the only
anime.
thing made out of rubber.
They're made out of anime.
that's especially funny because like if I remember correctly, Sonic Adventure 2 was the first Sonic game made by Sonic Team USA. So that's kind of telling.
Possibly, yes.
They're like, we finally get to make a game. First order of business. How big are the boobs on the new character we're gonna make?
Exactly. Well, I think technically Sonic Spin.
I can imagine, like, okay, what's our audience? Horny teenagers? Okay, we're gonna get those boobs in.
Yeah, I also want to bring up what Luke already made fun of, like that Knuckles' power-ups or something are the treasure in the temple. That just made me laugh because
Yeah, it was pretty convenient, wasn't it?
It's such a typical video game logic thing. Like in a Legend of Zelda game, sure, you go through a temple and then all you get is like a power-up.
It's kind of like how in the previous episode that red Chaos Emerald is conveniently in a shipwreck treasure.
Yeah, but at least Chaos Emeralds are treasure and they are magical, so that they can warp themselves to convenient places. But here, you just randomly have equipment only useful for Knuckles in an ancient temple. As if the ancient temples thought, like, oh man, we need to make this temple for a random alien that's going to show up in 1,000 years.
When Hawk said he found them in a temple, I was willing to accept that. Like, they got teleported to Earth with everyone else during the Chaos Control in Episode 1. But no, they are just sitting on a pedestal in this temple.
Yes.
They were put there.
They're the big highlights. Like, it's not to bury some ancient leader. They're not there to like a big treasure or offer to the gods. Well, maybe it is an offer to the gods. Knuckles is their god.
But like maybe Dick Hall put them there. It's like, oh, if he doesn't get those claws, then I can't show him something, and it's important that I show him something.
Yeah. But yeah, I was laughing out loud. It's such a wonderful video game moment. Like, of course, it's a power up for the main character to stay hidden treasure in the temple. Of course. I gotta love that stupid logic.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think that's the only power up from the adventure games that actually shows up in the Sonic X anime. Or maybe I'm misremembering, I don't know.
I don't know, yeah, I haven't looked forward yet, but yeah. At least these ones are here. Kind of random reference to make, but it was funny, so I appreciate it. I love it when things are stupid.
I suppose what I do have is that the temple itself was teleported from the world to there.
I suppose that is a possibility.
Yeah.
I guess. And then the actual temple just had an empty pedestal of nothing. So Indiana Jones, who went there, sacrificed his life, like risk his life for nothing, just for an empty pedestal.
I mean, it's kind of like how in the Sonic 2 trailer, like we see Sonic approach with the Emerald Temple. It's like, is that in Earth or in another world?
Oh, the movie, yeah.
Yeah, I guess we'll find out. Yeah.
I have to assume if Angel Island and Knuckles are gonna show up in the movie that they're teleported in through the rings or something. But guess we'll find out when the movie releases.
Yep.
I'm really gonna wonder how they're gonna get Angel Island to Sonic X, though. I mean, so far it only shows up in flashbacks, but it's gonna have to show up actual physically, right?
Yeah, it does show up physically, but it happens later.
Because it's important to Sonic Adventure's plot.
Yep.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, wonder how that's gonna happen, but that's for later. But yeah, episode 17, one of my favorite episodes so far. It was awesome to have Knuckles starring in it. And being all like Shamu hero, fighting Kung Fu villains.
It's nice to see Knuckles being taken seriously.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And actually being smart, yeah. Anyone else has a statement to make?
Another thing I want to add is that there's a montage of Knuckles guarding the Emerald. Like you get there's rain, like he doesn't get a cold or anything, but I can't imagine he just sits through all the rain, all the snow, and all that.
Yeah, that was a nice moment. It is kind of cool to actually see him being a guardian for once again. I know, again, it makes me wonder how the whole treasure hunting, where that fits in. Because we never really see him just treasure hunting for his own. He's guarding, so that always felt like a weird strapped-on element to him. Like,
yeah.
When does he ever go hunting for treasure? He has to protect the emerald at all times.
Yeah, that kind of thing rarely shows up. I know in Archie Sonic's new canon, the way they explain it is kind of just this one-off joke where Charmy asks, like, well, if you're a treasure hunter, then why are you always guarding the Master Emerald? And Knuckles is like, what, a guy can't have a hobby?
I guess that's one possible thing to say it. Although here it's treated more as
Wasn't the whole treasure hunting thing also brought up in Sonic Riders, or at least one of the games?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a reason why you can translate things. This is the only
yeah.
time we actually see him treasure hunting.
I don't know how the scene goes in Japanese, but like him talking about guarding the Master Emerald is very strange because he talks about it as if he gets pleasure out of doing it.
Oh, technically, it's his wife.
Oh yeah, my waifu was so hard. Know what I mean?
Jesus.
Well, I mean, I know there's plenty of fan artwork out there where they like anthropomorphize the Master Emerald to like this female green echidna.
Makes sense. Yeah. Or to pair him up with Tikal, that Tikal becomes the representative of the Master Emerald, which also makes sense, I guess.
Yeah. Of course, that always makes me wonder, are Knuckles and Tikal even related? Because if that's so, that would put a lot of weird implications on the whole shipping thing.
It's kind of a shame we never really get Knuckles thoughts on Tikal on anything. Well, maybe later in Sonic X, I don't know, but Sonic Adventure.
I assumed that Tikal existed like hundreds, if not thousands, of years before Knuckles.
That's true.
Yeah, so even if they were related, it'd be incredibly distantly.
Great grandmother. Yeah.
Yeah, and that she's dead.
Probably more like a great aunt or something, because I don't think Tikal had children.
Yeah,
Pretty sure she died young.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, cause I mean, like the last we saw her was like trying to use the Master Emerald to seal Chaos Emerald, so maybe that's what happened. She like sacrificed herself to do that.
It's very unclear, but probably yeah.
Mhm.
All right, we got a question in the chat about our thoughts on all the other previous episodes. I mean, I guess we might as well talk about what our opinion on Sonic X as a whole is up till this point.
Sonic. I thought it meant like the live streams we've done before right now, and
I guess everything up to episode 17. Well, and 19 in the Ghost episode. So.
Oh yeah.
Anyone wants to say their thoughts on Sonic X so far?
Well, I would think. I'll probably say briefly. I would think the episodes past the assault on Eggman's tower were pretty good, because in the very early episodes was very formulaic, with just like Eggman sending out a robot and Sonic and his friends have to stop it, and Chris trying to be like friendly with them or something.
That's kind of my thoughts on the episode so far. Like, I remember them being super formulaic, and as a kid really being annoyed by it, and I'm kind of surprised how it isn't that formulaic. I mean, the formula definitely exists, and I do think they rely too much on Sonic using his power ring. But up till this point, the episodes have been very dynamic, and a lot of interesting things happen. I think my biggest issue I had as a kid, which I only realized now... Sorry.
One thing I completely forgot to mention about this is in the Knuckles episode is that Eggman has a better version of his robot selection machine, which doesn't look as ridiculous as his slot machine, which is just like a flip thingy, which is more smaller. And also, you don't see the robot that he chooses because you don't see all the robots being selected. So it's completely random what kind of robot he would choose.
Yeah, they try to keep it more of a surprise this time. That was indeed a little bit interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I always found that a weird gimmick with Sonic X. It's like, oh, Robotnik just puts his Yu-Gi-Oh cards in the slot machine to let that decide what robot it is. I mean, I could just imagine, like, what if there was like a scenario where it like, oh, I need a robot with like ice blaster, and he puts the cards in and uses the slot machine, and he ends up getting like this hedge trimmer robot. It's like, how can I use that for my freezing project?
Exactly. Oh, we kind of
Roger did a parody
in the school episode. That he happens to get a teacher in that episode.
Yeah. I remember there was one other. Yeah, I remember there was one other parody someone did. I don't know where, it might have been Sonic Paradox, but it's like Robotnik puts in the cards and it's like, oh, the 2 slots is like the same robot, but then the third slot is like this completely different robot, and that causes the machine to blow up.
Oh, that's a good joke. Yeah. I'm ashamed I didn't come up with it. Did you want to say something, Sela?
Yeah, so my thoughts on Sonic X so far is, like, it is certainly a very weird series, especially with the localization having issues, but like I've been enjoying watching it because like I can take these characters seriously, like more than just Sonic is doing things. And like every character has a distinct personality and they're I can just take them seriously and it's nice.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it is
Um,
clearly more a comedy, but the comedy comes more from how weird the humans are more than the characters themselves. Yeah, Luke, you want to say something?
I was just saying that what I do like about Sonic X is that it has the characters all look like how they look in the games. Because in previous Sonic cartoons, you mostly only get like Sonic and Tails, and you got Eggman or Robotnik looking nothing like how he does in the games. And also you got characters that have never made an appearance in the cartoons, like Amy and Cream, and also Knuckles makes a better appearance because he did a debut in Sonic Underground, but here he's a more fleshed out character.
Yeah, because Knuckles only appeared in like 2 episodes in Underground. Here he's much more fleshed out.
4 episodes.
Oh, 4? Oh, yeah, the whole chaos.
The second one was a 3-parter, so
Also,
yeah.
when I watched Sonic Underground and I saw Sonya, I thought she was Amy because of how she resembles classic Amy.
Understandable confusion, yeah.
Yeah, of course, the only difference is Amy's usually voiced by a girl, while Sonya is just Steve Urkel in a high-pitched voice.
And also, she's Sonic's sister.
Yeah, that's true. The only time Sonic has had a sister in any Sonic media, as far as I know.
I never had a problem with the older cartoons. I mean, they're definitely their own thing, but they were never too far away with what I want out of a Sonic thing. I mean, compared with Captain N or something, oh my goodness, what they did with the video game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Captain N was doing its own thing, but yeah, I like the previous Sonic cartoons, like Venture Sonic. Like, yeah, it's fun time if you're in a Looney Tunes mood, and Saturday M Sonic, it's nice, but it can be a bit overrated with how let's just say how intense the fan base can be at times.
I guess so.
And Sonic, yeah. Sonic
and it's
Underground.
awesome that Sonic X is much closer to the games, and it really feels like a whole together with Sonic Advance and Sonic Adventures, like this little corner of Sonic where everything was kind of like synced up together. It does feel like its own separate corner in the Sonic universe now. Probably my favorite one. Yeah, it's a shame about the focus on humans, although now as an adult I can appreciate a little more because now I can see how funny it is most of the time. But yeah, it's great. I just think it's kind of awkward in how it deals with its storylines. It lacks a bit of a balance sometimes.
yeah. But yeah, I have been enjoying rewatching Sonic X, and I've not made it a secret that the 4Kids cast is my favorite cast for the Sonic characters, for most characters. Some, like Big the Cat, I'm not too big a fan of his 4Kids voice, but we'll get to that when he shows up.
I guess so. I have no idea what his 4Kids voice sounds like. Yeah, I kind of like the
don't?
4Kids voices a lot more here because they're
Wait, no, he was in Lego Dimensions. You should have heard him.
Was
Yeah,
that the
like,
4Kids voice?
Yeah.
like in Lego Dimensions, the voice of Big the Cat, who voiced him in Sonic X, also came back to voice Big in Lego Dimensions.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was definitely very weird because like they'd already replaced him with Kyle Hebert by that point. So just out of nowhere, they got one of the 4Kids voice actors back for Lego Dimensions, and and out of everyone, it's my least favorite.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's like, oh, here's a former 4Kids voice actor, not Mike Pollock, to actually come back and reprise a character.
Yeah, I
In
have
official
no
media,
idea.
anyway,
Oh, that's cool. Or not. I guess I haven't heard it yet.
Well, I find him to be like also my least favorite part in Lego Dimensions in the Sonic Hub world, mostly because like, oh, his missions are big fishing adventure 3, and then he also makes a Sonic reference. Although at least in Lego Dimensions, it's a lot more hidden. Like you can only hear that line after you completed his stage, so at least I can accept that. Unlike every other time where Sega just loves to shove it in our face, like, oh, it's Sonic, we funny, ain't we fucking funny? Meh.
I'm kind of surprised how detailed Lego Dimensions Sonic is. I think I heard they actually hired actual Sonic fans to write a lot of the dialogue. That's why there's so much variation. I mean, when you go to other levels in Lego Dimensions, especially the Ghostbusters ones, that they keep making the same jokes over and over. Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? Who you gonna call? That joke is like repeated 10 times. You got it.
And still, there's Well, one interesting thing I always found interesting with Lego Dimensions and Sonic was how the music was handled. Like, yeah, but obviously all the Genesis tunes are copyrighted, so they had to make up their own fake versions. But when it came to recycling music, the only tunes they decided to use were like tunes from the adventure games, and surprisingly Sonic 4, which really took me off guard.
Yeah, that is kind of random. Oh well, who knows who copyright works. And I have to admit, I kind of prefer Green Hill Zone's theme from Lego Dimensions over the actual one. So they did a cool job of it.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a hell of a lot better than Green Hill Zone's theme in Sonic Forces. Ugh.
Well, the theme itself is great. Just the instrumentals are terrible, but I love hearing remixes of the classic Sonic songs from Forces. The melodies are great. But yeah, I guess we're going off topic again. Did anyone give their thoughts on Sonic X as a whole so far? I think we did.
I don't think I have, or at least most of my thoughts. Yeah, Sonic X. It's yeah, it's been fun going back watching through some of these episodes whenever I feel like chiming in. It's definitely been fun for me in going back and watching the Japanese version because I've always talked about how that's like the superior version with Sonic, especially with the dialogue and some delivery, and especially with the bits of dialogue or scenes that were cut from the English. I was like, no, that just made it much better. And of course, the theme song is also better. Fuck, gotta go fast. Sonic Drive all the way, baby.
Yep, amen to that.
Yeah, and especially with, I'll just say this ahead of time, like, well, I'd say, like, when you guys eventually get around to Season 3, this is just kind of more of me, but, yeah, when you get to Season 3 of Sonic Forces, Sonic X, make sure you watch the Japanese version. It's mandatory to watch the Japanese version of Sonic X, Season 3.
Yeah, because it's got a lot of storylines. Well, I watched both, so no worries, I suppose. All right. I guess that completes our stream, at least the things we have prepared.
Yeah, I think I saw a few questions from a few comments back. Most of them are aimed towards you. Yeah, when will do Kingdom Hearts 3?
Yeah.
I have the script. I want to do it. I'm just too intimidated to make a very big, ambitious project at the moment. I'm so tired. But I want to do it. I'm gonna do one based on the mobile phone games first, I think. And I already had some preparation work doing for that, but I keep getting distracted and all that. I'm kind of intimidated.
Oh, good luck trying to do
someone else to do the artwork or something. I don't know.
Well, I can imagine the one for Kingdom Hearts Key or the game with too many titles. Yeah, I imagine that one's going to be big because there was quite a lot of cutscenes in there. Like, not just like the Avatar messing around the Disney worlds, but there's also a lot of like story focused in the Daybreak Town and whatnot.
I suppose what I would be looking forward to is your music videos, because they're usually the highlight of these Kingdom Hearts series. Because I think your Butterfly one is your magnum opus.
Okay, thanks. It's just increasingly harder to find new songs, especially to avoid copyright problems.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I want to do it. It's just intimidated by making big cartoons, and on top of that, Kingdom Hearts characters look so complicated, so I don't really like drawing them with all their details. I mean, it's very, very well known how detailed and complex they always are. It's never fun to draw.
Yeah, except in the mobile phone game, the designs are a little more simplified.
Yeah, true. Guess I'll just have to copy that one instead. Yeah, my apologies, Kingdom Hearts fans. I really let you down. That's true.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you can finish it before the announcement of Kingdom Hearts 4 or Kingdom Hearts Rise of the Cheese Wheels or whatever.
Kingdom Hearts 4, the search for more money.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 4, Darkness Within Darkness awaits you.
Now with Marvel and Star Wars characters.
Funny enough, there almost was a Kingdom Hearts game that had Star Wars in it, and that was it was a canceled project called, I think it was called Fragmentary Passage. No, not Fragmentary. Fragmentary Key. That's it. Yeah, not much is known about it, but in some concept art, it's like, oh, Wreck-It Ralph was going to be in there, and Frozen, and Star Wars, and this was way before Kingdom Hearts 3, so still, it's kind of interesting that they had that idea of, like, back then, before, we're still waiting to see, Sora beating up Darth Vader or whatnot.
No, you wouldn't think that Sora would make a brief cameo appearance in Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah, that's a good point. I should have done
that. That is true.
Because Ralph is a video game character himself, and you've got, like, Sonic and the Street Fighter characters in the background sometimes.
I guess they want to keep it realistic that only arcade characters are supposed to show up, and Kingdom Hearts never had an arcade. Although they're very inconsistent about it because the arcade game Sonic is from is Sonic the Fighters, even though they use the modern design, so they're already kind of cheating.
Yeah. In fact, when I remember when Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet was coming out, it's like, oh, Ralph's going on in like internet stuff. Like, oh, I could just imagine this scene where Ralph ends up in the Team Fortress 2 universe, and like they mistake him for like a red heavy, and he's getting gunned down by the blue team.
Yeah, I thought that it's going to have Ralph and Vanellope involved in like online gaming, and they end up in an MMO like World of Warcraft.
Yeah, something like that. I was expecting something like that to happen in the film, but it really doesn't. It's just the most online thing they happen is just, here's an online Disney website, and we just exploit the ever-living hell out of it.
And there was that car racing game, that Mad Max card racing game.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Carmageddon. I think was based on. Actually, I still haven't seen the second Ralph movie, so didn't hear.
I suppose like the reason that like Kingdom Hearts didn't show up in any of the Wreck-It Ralph movies, and there's no Wreck-It Ralph world in Kingdom Hearts, is because
actually there is, but only in the mobile phone game.
Oh, okay. But I suppose they're avoiding each other because like their rules kind of contradict each other. Like, what is Sora in Wreck-It Ralph logic? Is he like a video game character, or like can he go to other games or just to Disney worlds?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
That is interesting.
I suppose does Sora know if he's a video game character?
Yeah. And the other way, would Ralph recognize Sora because Sora is a video game character?
That's a very good question.
Because like none of the Disney characters recognize Sora except for Rex from Toy Story, but like for the same reason actually, because Sora's
a gamer. Yeah.
Okay, so.
Oh yeah, Yazora. Yeah, that thing. And then it turns out, oh, Yazora's real in the final boss thing for the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh, that is interesting. I didn't notice that. I guess we're building up towards that video game being real in Kingdom Hearts 3, huh? I have to admit, I still have to play the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh, I'm so
there's the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3 is, I guess in some ways it's just their way of saying, okay, here's the final mixed version of Kingdom Hearts 3. Because, like, there's additional cutscenes, there's additional boss fights. Sadly, you have to go through the whole boss fight with the new organization thing, but it's like, oh, there's additional cutscenes there. Like, you see more interactions with Ventus and Vanitas and other stuff.
Oh, cool.
And then after that, we also get a bonus story that takes place after the events of Kingdom Hearts 3, where they're trying to find out, where Sora went to. So I think, and in some ways, that's kind of like their excuse. It's like, oh, well, we didn't feature the Final Fantasy characters in the main game, so okay, here's the DLC. Now we have Final Fantasy characters in there. Happy?
Oh, well.
And I see on screen that there was apparently a King Candy boss fight, which is something I've been concerned about with Wreck-It Ralph appearance in video games, because by Wreck-It Ralph rules, Turbo should not be able to appear in a video game because he died outside of his own game. So the fact that he is in this Kingdom Hearts one kind of breaks the rules of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah, there's quite a number of Wreck-It Ralph themed bosses in the mobile phone game that happens. Like, you first enter the world, you go up on Ralph, and you're like, oh, we don't know that he doesn't want to be the bad guy. And then you fight him again, but this time he's like covered in the donuts and everything. And then you fight the weird, the bug enemies from the first-person shooter game, except this time they've now been possessed into heartless creatures. And then, King Candy shows up, like, much later, but I never got that far into the game, because when it gets to Wreck-It Ralph's world, the difficulty becomes extremely difficult, and I could never beat it, and now I can't anymore, since the game is no longer playable. It's only the theater mode now.
Boo. Oh, well. All right, were there more questions in the comments? I haven't checked.
Well, there's another one for you that was way back, just asking about, can you make part 2 of Sonic on Soul Sentia?
Soul Sentia, my level pack. I'm working on an upgrade for the first version now. That's why Luke did new voices for it.
Yeah, he's doing a final mix at the moment.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, Soul Senior, Final Mix Plus.
Something like that. Yeah, because I still had a couple things to fix because the run level I had supposed to have moving vehicles, which I couldn't do at the time, but now I can. I also never put the cutscenes in it, and I still don't. Instead, I'm making like interactive cutscene levels, which is why I needed new voice lines. So instead of just showing you the cutscene, I just let people like walk around like a mini hub area where the story will happen interactively, and that's what I'm working on now. So it's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, I've also been hearing that some people or some Let's Players have been playing through your mod of that game.
Soul Sustentia, yeah, man. I've seen lots of crazy speed runs. It's very popular with speedrunners, which is kind of funny because usually I don't really care much about speed running, but they love my levels. Probably because most Sonic Robo Blast 2 levels are very maze-like or very platform-heavy, while I actually focus a lot on speed, so they can really speed through. Man, some playthroughs are insane. Especially since a lot of the characters in Sonic Robo Blast 2 are very broken, so they can fly and jump and run ridiculously fast. It's giving Sonic and Lisa a run for its money.
Yeah, it looks like it, but I know there was a few days ago you were kind of complaining about how most Let's Players would go like for this certain route and not like the route you intended for a certain part of the level.
Yeah, that's right. My city escape level. I was thinking of almost making a video about that because I had like a sequence where you're running in a shopping mall. And at one point, you have to jump through a Chinese face of a Chinese hardware store, because it's an action movie sequence. Like, of course, you have to smash through like a expensive shop. But just to keep it kind of realistically, I also made a normal path next to it, just as a reason for how like shoppers can go through the other side of the mall without having to go through that store. But I just did it for aesthetic reasons. But everyone always keeps taking that route instead of smashing through the store, and it's driving me insane. It's like, why? I'm setting up this set piece. We can break vases. Isn't it satisfying? But nope.
Why are you taking the normal route? You're supposed to go through the shop. You're supposed to break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I really care. I mean, it's their choice. I give people a lot of choices on purpose, but still, it's so baffling to me to see so many people make the most boring decision. Why?
I guess people are just too used to all the meta and self-aware stuff Sonic's been doing for over 10 years rather than doing something, crazy and intense.
Maybe. Fair enough. And then again, I'm probably the only level that even has breakable glass. It's not really a gimmick in a normal game, so that's why I guess they just see it as a solid wall.
Yeah, I guess I could imagine that, because I imagine, like, all the graphics that are designed for, like, Windows are just, like, the same. There's not, like, a specific kind. It's like, oh, there's, like, cracks on it, or, like, flies splattered on it, or something like that.
No. It's not really programmed into the game either, so I just have to make up my own little thing. I do this weird thing where all that really happens is the game just kind of pulls the window down, so it doesn't really break. It just like slides into the ground. But just because you hear the sound effect with it, it kind of gives the effect it's broken. Because I wish I could make it like an actual break, but I have no idea how to do that. But yeah, Soul Sustentia 2 is also eventually coming. I already made a couple levels, but it's gonna take a very long time. I promised it was finished last year. It wasn't, so I'm sorry. So many things I wanted to do in so little time.
Yeah, and also I've been told that I believe that your level's quite popular in the contest.
Well, it's love it or hate it situation. Some people absolutely hate it. Some people really love it. So I wonder how I'm gonna do. Last time I joined the competition, I got 4th place, so we'll see how this level will do.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember. That's why I was thinking something like some other contest, like, oh, I used to be in part of like these image contests, but like, no, that's an MLP one, not a Sonic one. Oh well.
Yeah, you joining competitions too?
Well, like, back when, there used to be a group on DeviantArt called, Gmod Ponies, and that was like, oh, doing, like, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic themed pics in, Gary's mod, and, they usually had contests, like, for specific themes, like, oh, like, a character on doing this kind of stuff, or just one focusing on this specific character, and that went on for quite a while, but then it just suddenly stopped. Like, there's, like, in the journal, there's still this contest notice, and, winners haven't been picked. It's just, I don't know, the admin for that site just mysteriously disappeared, and now the place has been abandoned. submissions have been entered or anything. Like not even regular stuff.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah, that's the weird thing about it. Internet can suddenly become a ghost town.
Yeah, or just lack of being noticed. Because I remember with at least when I got more into YouTube, like, oh yeah, people know me for like Forgotten Media or my old rant videos, and then over time I got like less and less views, and it's like, I don't know what's going on. It's what drama started or something else, but nah, I think it's just with how strict the YouTube algorithm has become nowadays. Like I've already ranted about this in one of my Forgotten Media 10-year anniversary things where I complained about how there's a bit of an oversaturation with reviewers are always talking about the negative stuff. You know, it's always the same old like, whoa, this game sucks, or whoa, this film's terrible. You know, that kind of dry stuff. You know, trying to be the next angry video game nerd or blah, blah, blah.
Makes sense. Yeah, my videos are less viewed as well. I guess there's just algorithm things going on. I don't know what to do about it. Just keep soldiering it on, I guess.
Yeah. At least you actually make some pocket change out of it. I just do it for free.
Yeah, I just make whatever, really.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, you have to do it for fun, of course. That's the most important thing. Just keep having fun.
Yeah, and it's pretty much why I don't really get into the whole YouTube partnership deal. It's like, oh, if I do that, then I would have to, you know, follow the strict rules and the algorithm and blah blah blah. And I remember
you don't
like
have to, but
oh yeah,
just
but I
if you
remember
wanna
like
make a living out of it.
yeah, I remember like way back when YouTube used to have personal messaging options. I would sometimes get like personal messages from people like, "Oh, how about you join our YouTube partnership?" And I even remember Channel Federator actually sent me one. They're like pretty big with their top 10 lists and other things, but I just ignored it like all the others.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Any more questions, or shall we shut it off for today?
It's...
Yeah, we haven't gotten any questions in a while.
Yeah, I don't see any questions popping up. Yeah.
Guess it's over then. Alrighty then. So thank you all for watching or listening, whatever. See you next time. Anyone has a goodbye message?
The captain will return next time.
Yeah. And
Yeah, pretty much. Cheerio.
and yeah, don't do drugs. That's all I can think of.
Drink your skull, and stay in milk.
Drink your skull.
Truer words never been spoken.
Yeah.
Eat drugs, don't do vegetables.
And don't forget to wear galoshes.
Of course. Alright, see ya.
Goodbye.